Lisa's just listening. What happened was, I dropped my bouquet, ended up losing my way for a while.
Hold it!
You mean you dropped the bouquet at the scene of the crime? Yes, that's right! Oh, I was so upset. When we ran over and saw it was a woman with a knife in her back. I was so shocked I dropped the bouquet Rolly gave me. It was in a dark spot where the streetlights weren't casting any light, so I didn't notice it first. And then you went to the police box to report to the policeman whose beat it was on? Yes, and I came back to the scene together with the other constable, you see. That's when I spotted my bouquet again. The funny thing was, when I went to pick it up, it was nowhere near the victim's body at all. In case you need a right, in case you need a right, remind. I'm about to give up on reading. In case you need reminding, Mrs. Beat, the victim is not deceased. I was all flustered for a moment before I heard a voice calling me from the other side of the road. Your husband, presumably. That's right, silly me! I got over to the wrong side of the street. Although, I'm going to blame the bouquet this time. I can't think of how it got there. I really can't. The bouquet somehow moved from one side of Briar Road to the opposite. Curious indeed. Isn't it? But the worst of it is, I forgot to pick the bouquet up again when we left the scene. That beautiful rose Rolly brought me. With that change from the gutter he spent so long collecting. By bouquet, do you perhaps mean this sorry solitary rose? Oh, yes, that's it! That's the bouquet Rolly bought me for our anniversary, with all bits of change he found in the gutter. I'm changing her voice constantly, I'm sorry. Maybe just call it a rose. Tell us, Lord Von Seeks, where did you come by the flower? According to the report by the police officer in charge of the crime scene investigation, it was found on the edge of the pavement in front of the Garadeb household. In front of the Garadeb's house? Although it wasn't noticed until the morning, as it lay where the street lamps cast no light. It was believed to be of no relevance to the case, since it was found on the opposite side of the thoroughfare. Oh, thank you, sir, thank you! Can I have it back now, please? No, I think for good measure, this rose should be added to the court record as evidence. Oh. She dropped it where she stood, which means they were on the other side of the road. But it's a symbol of our love. I want it back after the trial. Do you hear me? I want it back. Good grief. Rest. Rest assured that I shall do my very best not to forget Mrs. Beat.
Hold it!
Oh, I didn't mean to hit L, actually. Nothing to report. Oh, well, probably there also the rose should be presented. Well, said the street lamps didn't shine there. Well, Mr. Naruhodo, what do you make of all this? Yes, the whole idea of an invisible attacker has been troubling me all along. I believe I'm starting to get a picture of what really happened here now. The fourth book that had no business being at the scene of the crime made me sure that Mrs. Garadeb was hiding something from us. It's becoming increasingly clear that someone else has been hiding something from us as well. I think I may already be armed with everything I need to strike a decisive blow here. This time, it's going to expose the whole truth about this mysterious affair. Uh-oh, he said affair, I'm scared. Not really because of that, but... I'm saving because I'm scared. Okay, I have the thought.
Objection!
I was right! The music stops and it's so exciting. You claim, Constable Beat, that there was nothing to report in the 15 or so minutes you were guarding the scene. But that cannot be. Falling asleep again while she's all starry-eyed and upset. What do you mean to say? In your testimony just now, Mrs. Beat, you explained to the court that when you arrived back at the scene of the crime with the policeman assigned to that beat, the bouquet you had dropped at the victim's side was no longer anywhere nearby.
Objection!
Yes, on the opposite side of Briar Road to where the victim was attacked. But considering the size of that meager bouquet, if a single sorry bloom can be so described, no doubt it was blown in the wind across the street, back into the gutter where it belongs. Meager?
Objection!
But if that were the case, why did Constable Beat not testify to the fact? No one else approached the scene, and nothing was removed from it. Constable Beat swore to that on Scotland Yard's honor. But the bouquet belonged to me! It has nothing to do with the case! That's why Rolly didn't mention it, I'm sure! No, because sadly it's not only your bouquet we're talking about here. More than one thing in this case is mysteriously the wrong way round. What are you talking about? Think about it. Besides Mrs. Beat's bouquet, there's Mr. Garrideb's book. Mr. Garrideb's copy of The Lion's Pride, which was thrown out of the window by his wife. Would have struck the pane of the casement window and landed here, on the west side of the street. And yet, it was actually found here, on the opposite side of the road, in the victim's hand. Meanwhile, according to the testimony we've heard, Mrs. Beat's bouquet should have been dropped here at the scene of the crime on the east side of the street. Hold on a second. Whoa. Sorry. But in fact, it was actually found here, on the opposite side of the road, in front of Mr. and Mrs. Garrideb's house. There's no logical explanation for those things. Unless somebody deliberately moved them. Hold on a second. Okay, no, I won't respond to that since... Respond tomorrow, maybe. What are you trying to say? The way you're talking, it sounds like you think my Rolly's done something wrong. Don't you listen to a word that scrawny lawyer says. Withering on about books and bouquets, why should we care? It's nitpicking, that's what it is. Oh, good. Mrs. Garrideb's come around. You might call it nitpicking, Mrs. Garrideb. But deliberately meddling with the scene of a crime is a criminal offense. It's called, tampering, Mr. Naruhodo. But the person responsible for this tampering cannot admit to it, for a very subtle but compelling reason.
Objection!
Fonziques is extremely rude, but I'm sure that there's reasons that we'll find out either in the next case or in the next game. I don't know. We'll find out. Tampering. You've barely heard the term before. Tell us, my learned friend. Who would possibly have had cause to carry out such an elaborate deception? Yes, there is someone who tampered with the scene of the crime that evening. All the evidence and all the testimony points to that one particular person. Crap! I feel like it's Mrs. Garrideb, but I don't know. It could be Mr. Garrideb. I feel like it's Mrs. Counsel, I must demand that you substantiate this conjecture. Who are you saying is responsible for tampering with the scene of the crime? It could also just be Rolly. I'm thinking again. Who do I answer? Can't believe Susan is only 16. Oh, Von Zeeks is 32. Hello, sir. I like older men. He's not that much older, though. He's injured, so he can't. If she knew that they're each apart dying. If she knew, oh, little Iris. If she knew that the book and everything flew out and hit the woman, then maybe she moved her. But she would have had to have had help.
Take that!
Oh, obviously, there's only one person it could have been. Constable Rolly Beat. It was you. What? A policeman? Member of Scotland Yard? What nonsense! Why would my Rolly do something like that? There's no one straighter than my husband. No Bobby works more tirelessly for the people of London. Mrs. Beat, you said in your testimony that your husband asked you to go to a nearby police box to fetch the officer on duty. Oh my gosh, that's why he did it. Was he having an affair with this woman that was stabbed? The 15 minutes you were absent from the scene is the only opportunity anyone had to tamper with it. You're making it up. It's all nonsense. It's all lies. What about that Japanese man with the whiskers? I bet it was him. He did it.
Objection!
His objection is not as strong as Phoenix's, but maybe it'll get stronger later. If that was true, Constable Beat would have seen him do it. Oh. And forgive me for pointing it out. When you dropped your bouquet, Mrs. Beat, it was after the defendant had fled the scene. Well...
Objection!
Von Zeeks is very strong. First, you make accusations about the landlord and his wife. And now you incriminate a policeman as well. But your accusations lack one very important thing. Motive? You claim the crime scene was tampered with. But there's only one reason why anyone would commit such a reckless crime: to hide something. That's right! He's right! But my husband and I just happened to be there, that's all! So why would we have anything to hide? It doesn't make sense! You've offered no motive for this alleged tampering. And until you do, your accusations are nothing but empty threats! I want a snack so bad! Constable Beat had a very good reason for wanting to tamper with the scene of the crime. It's the key to this entire affair. Mr. Naruhodo, have you managed to solve this mystery? Counsel, you have made a very serious accusation against a London police officer. If you are mistaken, I'm sure I need not point out that your reputation as a lawyer will be irrevocably damaged. With that stark warning in mind, you now explain to the court the motive for this alleged tampering. Yes, my lord. Constable Beat's motive for tampering with the crime scene was to hide. Jeez, this music is vibing. Hold on, I have to think. Where the victim fell, because if she fell in his beat, he would have to stay on duty and do the investigation and everything on his own, wouldn't he? Because of this. Not this page. Any crimes fall under the jurisdiction of the beat in which they are discovered. When a crime is discovered on his beat, a policeman must must assist with additional investigations and help detectives. It's because of where she fell. Where the victim fell to the ground. That is what this Bobby had to cover up. At all costs. What? Where the victim fell? You mean where she was attacked? What are you talking about? We told you at the very start, didn't we? On the pavement of Briar Road. We saw it happen, remember? It was right here, as if anyone didn't already know. That's certainly what everybody has been led to believe. But in fact, that isn't where the victim was stabbed at all. What? What? I hate reading out lines that are shouting because I feel like my family can hear me. Because when I've reacted to shiny reactions, I went and told my mom, she's like, I could hear you. And I'm like, oh, gosh. I'm beginning to wonder where this tumultuous trial will end, Counsel. So am I. If that's your assertion, then the court is dying to know, my Nipponese friend. Where are you proposing that the crime actually took place that evening? Right over here. Are you gonna... Oh, do I just have to select?
Take that!
But that's... the opposite side of the road. I don't understand. On the evening in question, Mr. Garrideb's book fell directly down from the open window above, and your bouquet, Mrs. Beat, never moved at all. What did move was the scene of the crime itself. Good gracious!
Objection!
Perhaps you haven't been listening to the ample testimony the court has heard. But these witnesses both saw the moment the attack took place. That's right! I saw it! With my own eyes! It was 5 o'clock in the evening and already dark. There was the typical London fog on the ground. When you saw the incident unfold and ran to the victim's aid. That was actually on the west side of Briar Road. No, that's not true! It can't have been! Constable Beat then arranged for you to be absent for a while by sending you for help. And during the 15 minutes you were away, he transplanted the crime scene. He moved all the things shown in this print, the victim herself, the 4 books. He moved everything, in fact, to the pavement on the east side of Briar Road. Extraordinary. I don't know why that came out so British. I'm not trying to be British. But the constable overlooked one thing. What? What did he overlook? The bouquet, I presume. Exactly. The prosecution told the court just a few minutes ago about the discovery of the rose bouquet. Lord Von Zeek said it wasn't noticed until the morning, as it lay where the street lamps cast no light. Yes, it couldn't be seen in the dark, obviously, which is why it was only the bouquet. It was found in its original position, on the pavement on the west side of Briar Road. And that is the defense's theory about what really happened that evening. How do you respond? Constable Rolly Beat. Well, I'm very sorry. I didn't mean to nod off again, but I haven't slept properly in a month. Did I miss anything important? Sir, please. Oh, Rolly. It isn't true, is it? What that lawyer said is all lies, isn't it? I know it is, because you're the most upstanding, righteous man I know. I had a dream. A terrible dream. All the things I did that night. Everything come out. Everything exposed. That's not good. Only, it seems... it wasn't a dream at all. Good golly! on earth is the meaning of all this? Oh, Rolly, why? Why'd you do something like this? Moving a corpse is a criminal offense, isn't it? She's not dead. Wishing the victim dead should be one too. Constable, explain yourself. Why would you do this? As a respected member of Scotland Yard, your duty is to protect the good people of London Town. I can't say, sir. What? I really am ever so sorry about all this. For damaging the Yard's reputation, for everything. I have a possible explanation. For why, on that particular evening, Constable Beat felt compelled to move the scene of the crime. They can think of one reason. You can? What? How could you possibly know? You, a foreigner, presuming to understand the mind of a Scotland Yard policeman. And yet, Lord Von Zeeks, it is this foreigner who has uncovered the startling truth of the matter thus far. I believe it would be beneficial to the court to hear this extraordinary young lawyer's theory. Counsel for the defense, if you please. Yes, my lord. Now then, I think you had better show us some evidence. At once, my lord. England, Japan, it makes no difference where you come from. Human emotions are the same. And I think I have a fairly good idea of the feelings behind this man's actions. What gives away the motive for Constable Beat's unthinkable actions? Is it his book? With his code and whatever? Alright, let me see what I have. I have my armband, a local map, a secondhand book receipt. Mr. Natsume, that's Soseki's case file. Is it this?
Take that!
Oh. I was right, it was his warrant card. I realize that I'm a foreigner in this land, and I've only just arrived from Japan, which is why all this information about London's so-called bobbies is completely new to me. I've learned that, though honorable, patrolling the beat is the most demanding work in the world, for example. Keeping the peace, looking after the citizens on his beat in all kinds of ways. There's no doubt that the young bobby is charged with a great deal to do each day, certainly. But, for Constable Beat, the day in question was special. Oh, he moved her so it was on somebody else's beat, so he didn't have to spend all the time doing that instead of being with his wife for their anniversary. Special? How? On account of this bouquet, my lord. Oh yes! It was our very first wedding anniversary! Constable Beat had worked so hard to be able to afford this simple gift for his wife, and was so looking forward to taking her out for a celebratory meal. When he and Mrs. Beat stumbled upon a crime along Briar Road. When he saw that shadowy figure through the fog collapse on the pavement ahead of them, what must have gone through the man's mind? But sir, just on that one particular day, I was looking forward to celebrating my wedding anniversary. Mrs. B puts up with a lot being married to a bobby like me. I want to show my dear wife how much I care. This is the warrant card that Constable Beat offered to lend me earlier. Inside, among the rules for patrolling policemen, it says, when a crime is discovered on his beat, a policeman must assist with initial investigations and help detectives. Aha! Constable Beat. Is that or is that not the reason why you moved the whole scene of the crime that day? Aww. Yes. Everything you said, it's all right. So that's it. It was all to do with the boundary of your beat. Oh. Exactly. To summarize, the incident actually occurred on Constable Beat's beat. Gracious! Constable! Do you realize the gravity of what you've done? It's the first time since I became a copper that I'd ever cursed God. Oh my. Stay close to me, Pat. That the criminal could still be lurking somewhere. As we ran over to the scene, I had every intention of doing my duty as a police officer. I've got to report this to the station as quickly as possible. Then it dawned on me, at least where we were, where the victim was lying. What that meant for me. When a crime is discovered on his beat, a policeman must assist with initial investigations and help detectives. Why here? Why did this happen to happen here? Why tonight of all nights? Aww. Why? Aww. It's a copper's job to guard the scene of the crime, so I told Pat she'd have to go to the nearest police box and fetch whoever was on duty there. Because then, when I opened my mouth to speak, it just came out. I couldn't believe the words that were coming out of my own mouth. This is the next beat to mine, Pat. So you'll have to go to the police box that covers it. Turn right along Mearscombe Street and then... Oh. He just wanted to have a nice anniversary with his wife. Oh. Oh. It's so sad. Oh. Oh. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Oh. It hurts. Oh, Constable. I just wanted just that one night to take my Patricia out for dinner. Oh, Rolly. Just that one night. You knew that if the incident was on your beat, your evening of celebration would be ruined. Don't you Kappa me! It's so sweet. He just wanted... Oh, I know he did bad. He committed a crime, but he just wanted to have a nice evening with his wife for their first anniversary. Oh. I need some water. Better. And so you decided to move the entire crime scene out of your jurisdiction. Just across the street to the east pavement of Briar Road, which falls under the neighboring beat's care. No, don't hide me! You see, I thought... Well, I was sure the victim was dead, you see. I beg your pardon? Oh, of course he did. Otherwise my Rolly would never have left the poor woman on the freezing cold pavement. Ah, I see your meaning now. But God got me back for my sins, didn't he? That's why I missed the rose I bought for Pat. Oh no, Rolly, that was all my fault. I should never have dropped it in such a dark place. I'm so sorry, Rolly. And can you tell us, Constable, how many books did you move from the one side of the road to the other in total? 4 it was. Yes, sir. Definitely 4. 3 of them dropped by Mr. Natsume, and the 4th being the one that fell from the window upstairs in the Garrett household, of course. But what made you place that book in the victim's hand? When all the others bodies were scattered haphazardly around, I mean. Oh no! Oh no! Poor Rolly! Oh, well, sir, that's because that's how I found it. How you found it? What do you mean? When we first ran over to the scene, the victim was already holding the book. It must have fallen and she reached down to pick it up, and then the knife fell out and got her. So, when I moved everything, I made sure it was still in her hand. You're sure it was this book, The Lion's Pride, that the victim was holding? Oh, yes, sir. No doubt about it, sir. Interesting. Fourth book's information has been updated. I thought it was an open and shut case at the time, you see. There were only the two people at the scene. And Pat and me both saw it happen. Or which way you looked at it, it had to be the fellow who ran off who'd done it, I thought. I couldn't see the harm, really. I didn't think moving it all over the road would make a jot of difference. I suppose this is it for me now. I've had it. My lord. Yes, Lord von Zieks. I believe that concludes the cross-examination of the witnesses. Constable, you may withdraw. Yes, sir. Mr. Prosecutor, sir. What will become of my Rolly? What will happen to him? For now, you are free to go home. The police will contact you in due course. Please, don't punish my husband. This was all my fault. No, no death. It's because I'm always moaning at him for coming home late. Leave it now, Pat. Let's go home. I'm tired. All right then, my love. One last thing, Constable. Sir? Let this be a lesson to you. In a criminal investigation, every detail matters, however insignificant it may seem to you. Yes, sir. Carve that lesson in your mind. And never again make the same mistake of tampering with the scene of a crime. Oh, never again, sir, you mean to say? Leave now. This trial is not yet over. Sir? Oh. Well, quite a startling revelation, I must say. Whoever thought of a third party transplanting the entire scene of a crime like that? I'm sure we will. Indeed, my lord. Nevertheless, there are some immutable facts here. Principally, that the accused, Mr. Soseki Natsume, is the only person who could have committed this crime.
Objection!
Objection! Stop it! No, I disagree. Now that we know the true scene, now that we know the true scene of the incident, there is someone else. Another person who could be responsible for the knife in the victim's back. I thought we were going to be done by now. Forgive me for being presumptuous, but I believe the prosecution is probably well aware of this possibility already. Lord von Zieks, is this true? Very well. Name the person if you will, and if further investigation is warranted, the prosecution has no objection to the trial continuing. You will name this other person.
Take that!
Of course, it has to be her. The defense would once again like to request the cross-examination of a new witness, my lord. Once again? My assistant made the same request earlier. In order to finally reveal the truth about this case, it is imperative that we cross-examine juror number 4, Mrs. Joan Garadeb. Me? Me? How dare you me?
Objection!
That request has already been denied.
Objection!
But the situation is very different now. Mrs. Garrideb, answer me this. What do you want now, you little toad? She's so rude. At the time of the incident, you were engaged in a violent argument with your husband, Mr. John Garrideb. In the course of the argument, a minor house fire was ignited. And to clear the smoke from the room, your husband opened a window that looks out over Briar Road. Well, what of it? You threw this book at your husband when he was cornered with his back against the window. Upon striking the pane of the open top hinged casement window, so many words, the book plummeted directly down, finding its way to what we now know to be the true scene of the incident. Yes, and as I said, what of it? During the argument, you were beside yourself with rage. As such, you threw not just books, but anything you could lay your hands on. So, let me ask you one more time, Mrs. Garrideb. This knife, the one removed from the victim's back, have you really never laid eyes on it before? Oh. I don't recall it. Seriously. How am I supposed to remember everything I picked up and threw it to my husband? And anyway, the man over there and all that regalia said members of the jury needed to testify, didn't he? Conveniently, yes.
Objection!
No, I have no recollection of saying that at all. Juror number 4. Oh my! Oh! Make no mistake. You jurors are not special in any way. You're not immune to the judicial process. If you know something about this knife, madame, let the truth come out. But that's just a common or garden knife. It could have come from anywhere. We have several like that at home, if we're not missing. How would you expect me to know? What's that? Are you joking? What are you saying? Please, Mrs. Garrideb. Now you listen to me. It didn't have a box. I refuse to believe all this nonsense. I couldn't bear the thought that I'd injured someone. Do you hear? I couldn't bear it. Oh, the poor woman. So, yes, I want evidence. I want to see hard evidence if you're going to insist on this being my fault. You're going to have to prove to me that I threw that knife if that's what you think. Come along now, chop chop. Do your worst. Well, Mr. Naruhodo, if I had evidence like that, believe me, I would have thrown it at her already. Then take the stand, juror. Oh. The prosecution does not object to the defense's request to cross-examine this woman. Thank you, Lord Von Zieks. Why, I'm going to have to testify. Juror number 4, as I'm sure you will appreciate, having observed with your own eyes today, witness testimony can lead to the most extraordinary truths being unearthed. Truths of which the witnesses themselves may not even have been aware. Oh, dearie me! So I demand your full and unadulterated testimony, Mrs. Garrideb. Mark my words, in this court of law today, we shall extract the truth. Do you concur, counsels? Certainly, my lord. Oh, that's what I'm hoping for, my lord. He's a little more helpful than Miles was. To be honest, this is such a strange feeling. For the first time since arriving in this country, it actually feels real. Here, the Old Bailey, and I'm a lawyer. Aww. Oh my gosh, I thought I was going to say to be continued. I was like, no, we're doing it. Witness, state your name and occupation. Oh, yes, my name is Joan Garrideb, and I'm a juror, such like... It sounds like even she doesn't know if she's a housewife or a maid or what anymore. The court has decided your testimony is required in order to clarify matters in this case. Do you understand, madame? Yes, my lord. You will tell the court everything that took place in your household on the evening in question. And I warn you, do not attempt to hide the truth. Oh, dearie me. Chin up, Joni. Nothing to worry about now. Oh, I didn't know you were here, John. I don't remember what voice I gave him. It wasn't only you in the room that day, old thing, was it? Rather think I ought to testify as well, don't you? But what about your knee, dear? Don't you worry about that. Hardly notice it. I'm not the sort of chap to leave a comrade to face disciplinary action alone. Oh, John. I presume you are Mr. John Garrideb? Yes, sir. Former second lieutenant of the third Regiment of the 4th North Lumberland Fusiliers, sir. Seen my fair share of action and now living the quiet life, as it were. Quiet life? Were you not engaged in an incendiary battle with your spouse on the day in question? Ah, well, yes. Quiet. I believe this may represent a first in the proud history of the British court. Calling a juror to the witness stand is unprecedented. However, the court will hear your testimony now, juror number 4, and that of your husband. You'll recount clearly and concisely events in your home at the time of the incident in question. Sir, at once! My throat. The Battle of Garrideb! I will say Ghirardelli sometimes when I say that now, but she does really love him, it seems, but I feel like she's gonna go to jail at the end of this. Yes, on the day you're referring to, the wife and I did have a bit of a skirmish. Can't recall the reason now. Knocked a candlestick over and set fire to the carpet. Soon had it out, though, and got the window open. Meanwhile, I was picking up whatever I could find to throw at him. Plenty of knives around our place. Can't say I noticed if 1 or 2 went missing, I'm afraid. If that bally thing in the victim's back really was one of ours, we'll have a job proving it, I think. Don't know about that. Oh. It sounds as though it was quite the battlefield in your household that evening. Although an entirely one-sided assault, it seems. The enemy caught us on the hop, sir. Had no choice but to dig in and take defensive measures. To be honest, if the enemy had kept shelling us for another minute, we'd have been toast. Of course, a veteran such as myself, he's only too aware that on every battlefield you're just a gnat's whisker away from death at any moment. Are we still talking about a marital quarrel here? Well, I must say I'm dubious that this testimony will shed any light on the origins of this jackknife. In combat, one's focus narrows such that surroundings are barely noticed. These witnesses may not be able to offer anything more than they have testified already. This may be a dead end. But Seeks may well be right. Well, whatever the chance is, we only have this last cross-examination to uncover the truth, Mr. Naruhodo. Yes, I'm afraid so. Very well, counsel. Begin your cross-examination. Oh, I was gonna do the shaman runaways before I started this. I was gonna do 50 of them, and then I found that my game was not saved in front of shaman. So I have to run myself back over to shaman. Which means I have to slink my way through Victory Road again. Because I was in the Grand Underground catching things for my Pokédex, and I forgot that because it's been several months.
Hold it!
The reason is what you told us yesterday, I believe. Yes, that's right. If I remember correctly, it all started because of a note that was tucked into the pages of a book belonging to Mr. Garrideb. A rather passionate note, in fact. But Mrs. Garrideb found the note, discovering her husband's little secret. And she gave him a mighty number of slaps across the face for it, too. What a sordid state of affairs. Hell on earth. I want to save that. I say, when a chap says he can't recall such things, it's common decency not to drag it all up. And besides, half of it was wide of the mark anyway. He's scared of her. A likely story. These waters were very deep. And what transpired next after these multiple blows to the base? Knock the candlestick over and set fire to the carpet.
Hold it!
And the fire also spread to some items of furniture, didn't it? Oh, the bookcase, my armchair, anything of mine, really. Just so happens there was some bathwater around that evening, so I sloshed that about to put it out. A most precarious situation you put yourself in. Ours is a 3-story townhouse on the west side of the street where the water main isn't connected yet. Have to draw water from a public water pump during the day if you need any, you see. The lodgers are always moaning that they can't get any water at night. Although, the little mustached Japanese man buys water in bottles, I believe. The defendant, Mr. Natsume, you mean? Yes, he receives a stipend for his studies, you know, from his home country. Can you imagine being able to brew a pot of tea at all hours? He's obviously very well off. Have you actually seen the state of the man? I believe he uses all of his income to buy books. Well, anyway, the point is, I was able to douse the fire with water, fortunately enough. I need to look at the knife real quick. I'm not presenting it to her. It does open up. Oh, the tip of it. Right. The tip is missing. Do we know what that is? Just a small piece of the blade appears to be missing. I think that's the only thing of note. Oh, it just closed it. Okay. Hold on. Nothing to do with her. Those two I'm pretty sure are dead. Okay, I'm gonna keep pressing on them because I'm sure somebody's gonna say something about the tip of the knife being.
Hold it!
Even though the room was on fire, as far as I was concerned at the time, it was more important to extinguish my anger than with the flames. When a woman wants to throw, she must throw. This is most certainly not true of a Susato takedown, Mr. Naruhoto. How does she know I was thinking that? So, please cast your mind back and try to remember. Was the knife among the items that you threw at your husband that day? In all honesty, I don't recall. But I feel I must point out that I'm no monster. Let me see. Some bread, a cabbage, garlic, a towel, and a sponge.
Fine. Shoot.
A napkin.
Excuse me.
What? What do you mean? What? Do you have something to add, sir? Mr. Garadeb! Don't shoot! Sorry, I beg your pardon. Did your wife's remark just now bring something to mind? Nothing of any significance, no. Just that the barrage of projectiles the old thing launched in my direction. Somewhat more solid than she implies. Books, bricks, and the fire poker I seem to recall. Ouch. And the woman's aim is uncanny. She landed a direct hit with every volley. Ah! Good grief, woman, we're not at home now. This is a court of law. Oh, dearie me. Ever so sorry, dear. What's she doing with a upon in here. Honestly, John, I would never have done such things to you, obviously. Well, take a good look at this then. How do you suppose that happened, Your pipe, sir? Had this thing in my hand as usual at the time of the onslaught. Knocked it clean out with one of her soft projectiles, she did. Yes. Then when I went to pick up the thing up, it was broken in two. I'd like to see a sponge do that sort of damage. I see, your pipe was broken. It would never have been sent flying unless it was hit by something pretty solid. Anyway, I managed to manage the thing up for now. Oh, you're one to exaggerate, aren't you, dear? I don't think he's exaggerating in the tiniest bit. What should we should make of this account? It could be important. The defense believed Mr. Garridib's remarks just now to be of great significance. Oh. This war veteran's words only tell us one thing. Betray a fiery wife, and pipes, as well as hearts, may be broken. Sentimental wisdom, perhaps, but hardly worthy of adding to the formal testimony. Indeed. Common sense, one might say. Ugh, really? Might one? In that case, would you at least permit us to examine the pipe, sir? Well, I don't see why not. Oh, dearie me, there you go again, trying to ingratiate yourself with a young lady. Oh my gosh, lady, he's not cheating on you. Very well, the court will accept the gentleman's pipe as evidence. I hope I didn't speak out of turn, Mr. Naruto. I was just feeling rather disappointed for you that your request was turned down. Oh no, it's fine. Thanks to Susato-san, we have some new evidence to work with. We should examine it carefully. Well, thank you for that. A rebuttal, Mr. Garridib. If we could return to the crux of the matter. What can you tell the court about the knife used to attack the victim? Allegedly that they don't know anything about it. My throat is suffering. Gosh. It looks to be in a sorry state with that bandage around it, doesn't it? For some reason, it's slightly ominous to me. It's trying to shout out a warning. Probably because it's the same blue as Mr. Garridib's dressing gown. I suppose it must have considerable sentimental value to Mr. Garridib, given that he's gone to the trouble of repairing it like this. Either that, or he can afford to replace it. There's a small nick out of the bowl here. Look, it appears to have been made relatively recently. See how there are little scrapes and dents all over it? It's clearly a well-loved pipe. Yes, you're right. It seems to me recently that being well-loved goes hand in hand with getting some battle scars. The particular nick is catching my eye, though, because it's clearly new. Yes, it is. And look at that. Look at that. How does he not know that that's in there if he's using the pipe? Oh, something just twinkled inside the chamber of the pipe there. Yes, I saw it. Something's stuck in there, I think. Let's turn it over and give it a shake. What's this? It's a tiny fragment of metal. It looks like the tip of a blade or something. The tip of a blade? Surely. Could it be? It is. It absolutely is. Okay, how do we get to this, though? How shall we get to this?
Hold it!
Sorry? Would you care to elaborate? Nothing to say, really. Rather partial to a spot of carving, you see. Pipes and whatnot, fish and tackle, you know the sort of thing. Oh, he carves things. That's what the knife is for, isn't it? It's a passion we both share. I like to carve little wooden trinkets, too. And then there's my leather work. Sorry to say, we're always losing knives about the place. Oh, we have dozens of the things. They sell them at the market sometimes, 20 for the price of 19. Needless to say, I snapped them up. John prefers to use 2 knives at meals too, instead of a knife and a fork. Oh my gosh. Now, Joan, we don't want people thinking I'm some kind of savage. Ah! Here we go again with evasive. I imagine it's because they don't want to believe it. They can't bear the thought that it might have been one of their knives that injured the victim. Which is entirely understandable, of course, but still. Go on with your testimony, witnesses. Sir! I think in the back, you'll have the job proving
Hold it!
anything. Well, so you have no intention of admitting it was your knife, unless we can produce proof? And even though there's no other credible possibility Mr. Natsume is innocent?
Objection!
You forget, my Japanese friend. But it has yet to be established that the accused is not responsible for the attack. As if I could forget. I never said I know who had handled the knife. I suppose wizardry like that is just a dream. Perhaps you're thinking of fingerprinting, Mr. Naruto. What? You mean, it's not a dream? That sort of wizardry really exists? Whenever people touch anything, they leave behind a unique pattern of their skin. Or so they say. I can't see anything. There are already countries in the world where these so-called fingerprints can be used as evidence. Lord Strongheart is currently discussing the matter at the Ministry of Justice. Yes, I believe we are rapidly approaching an era of scientific methods of investigation. But for now, we shall have to find an alternative method for proving our assertion. Now, this knife was found in the victim's back was originally in Mr. and Mrs. Garrett's house. Oh, hi, Callie, you're awake! If only I could transplant this whole incident to several years in the future. Emma Sky is here with her fingerprint powder. With her luminal fluid. That's the extent of their testimony, is it? What do you think, Mr. Naruhodo? Well, we've heard all this before, to be honest. I can't say I'm particularly confident that we'll be able to prove anything new from this testimony. But this cross-examination it's absolutely essential. Can we establish how this knife came to be at the scene of the incident? Yes, I know. I'm sure both of them must be feeling very worried. Worried that it was, in fact, a knife belonging to one of them that caused the victim's injury. If we could find even a tiny shred of evidence to support that theory, it would clinch this trial for us. It would explain everything. Hi, Princess. Yes, it would. So, for Saseki-san's sake, we must find that last crucial piece of evidence. We found it.